Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. I guess we need to take roll.
Okay. Lamb,
Here.
Priest,
Here.
Colwell,
Yep.
Lawson, Maxwell, McCann,
Here.
McKnight,
Here.
Prophet,
Here.
Watson.
All right, first thing on the agenda are the minutes from our May 4th meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review those?
Yes.
Any comments or questions? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve them as they are.
Motion to approve? I wasn't here, so I can't really. I'll second it, though.
Second it.
If that works for you.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Let's see here. And I said May 4th, I'm sorry, that was June 1st. Okay. Next we have Allison Jumper to discuss the Arkansas Parks and Tourism outdoor grant application.
We are applying for the Arkansas Parks and Tourism Outdoor Grant this year for 2016 funding. It's a 50-50 matching grant that we've applied for many times in the past, and it has funded several of our parks, development and improvements to existing parks. You can apply for up to $250,000, that's the max. We hosted 3 public meetings that targeted minority groups, and then we also had just a general broad public meeting here a couple weeks ago, I think it was the 25th of June, to get input from the community about what they would like to see for outdoor recreation. We received many suggestions, lots of different types of input, ranges from maintenance type items like replacing a bench up to we'd like more pools and splash pads, and so it kind of ranges the whole span of anything you could think of for outdoor recreation. But what we do, because you have to have matching funds, we take everyone's input and we compare that to what we have in the budget, what even input that we've received from the past via email or phone calls, and try to match that up the best we can to create the best grant application. There's a lot of competition for these grants. I think last year they had 3 times the amount of money applied for that they had to give out. So it's a very competitive grant. So what we're proposing this year is to replace the older age group playground at Wilson Park, which is this playground, and also make some parking and road improvements along the access drive here and improve the ADA access to this playground. We've done some temporary improvements here. If you guys have been out there recently, Byron and his crew placed some boulders and sod. We've had an erosion problem through there. Over the years, people have parked along there so often that it's killed all the grass, and then the water washes and it ends up in the street. So what we would like to do is actually make it one way, put curb and gutter and parking all along one side, because we're kind of limited on parking for that part. And then just stripe this so that it's more efficient, and like I said, improve the ADA access here and replace this playground. It's become quite dated and worn. We have, some of the deck is rusting. We have cracks in the port-in-place. I think we actually had to remove one of the slides and just kind of barricade that off for now because we haven't been able to update that. So that's the project that we're looking at. We do have matching funds for that. I'm still working out the estimate, but I believe we'll apply for $150,000 to $175,000 for that project, and we have that matching money in the budget for well, not in the budget, but in the CIP.
Okay. So you need a motion by us to approve the application
Yes.
of those funds?
So moved.
All right.
Which way would you make that, one way uphill or downhill?
The drive?
Yeah.
Would make it downhill.
Okay.
Yeah. So one way to the south.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay. All right, thank you, Allison. All right, next we have the Hammock Hotel proposal by the Girl Scouts. Christina Smith is the troop leader. Y'all can come up and stand wherever you like.
This is for you, not for me. Tell them what you're proposing.
So we're proposing that, well, a lot of these trees in the parks all over and anywhere are gonna be damaged because of all of the hammocking that's improving more and more and getting worse because everybody's hammocking. And so we want to make a 7-post circle with one in the middle for a hammock hotel that will be 6 by 6 by 12 posts, and they're gonna have a hook. We want them to have a hook on them for the hammocks to go on, so those won't get, the hooks won't even get worn out. So,
The posts will be 5 feet under, covered, buried in cement, so that they'll stay, and 7 feet above ground. And all posts are like 14 feet apart.
well, our posts, we don't have to have these like that, the 6 by 6 by 12. We are thinking about getting other posts, utility posts from a different company.
From utilities.
Yes.
But if that doesn't work out,
Then we'll do the 6 by 6 by 12.
anything else you want to add to that? There's more. Okay. I'm sorry, they're a little shy. All right, first of all, let me just tell you, these girls are doing this as part of their bronze project award. They have to do something for a larger organization than just their small community of Girl Scouts. And they have chosen to do something for the city of Fayetteville. And they are often out hammocking, their friends are out hammocking, and they have seen the stress on the trees. They've read about other towns and cities that have banned hammocks in their parks because it's starting to destroy trees. And they know that that could be the future of Fayetteville, and they don't want to see that as the future of Fayetteville because, well, everyone loves hammocking, and it's not going away, and it's a way, especially the youth will get out and enjoy nature and each other, and you know, they want it to be a fun way for people to get together, not a stressful environment for the trees, right? Okay, so they want to build at primarily their cost this hammock hotel, and originally they had asked for they wanted 4 by 4 by 12 pressure treated posts, and that's what a couple of experts that they have talked to have suggested. However, after giving their initial proposal, we've heard back that perhaps a stronger post might be more acceptable to the city of Fayetteville. So they have inquired to a couple of the utility companies about getting utility posts. However, they don't think that is the best route because the only utility posts they're probably going to get are used ones that have climbing nicks and brads and everything else coming out of them. Could cause more of a danger, really, than be helpful. So if they aren't able to get posts like that are safe, then they propose them purchasing 6 by 6 by 12 posts, pressure treated. They have already spoken with Lowe's and are guaranteed a small donation from them, and are also looking at Home Depot and some other home improvement places to help them with their costs. After this is built, and they intend to do all the work except digging the holes, I believe, themselves with family and friends' help, and anyone's help that wants to get involved. fault, quite frankly. They also propose a secondary park to host a hammock and slackline education celebration as a grand opening of the hammock park. They have spoken with Lewis and Clark so far, and have been pledged that they will help out and be involved. They also want to go to some of the other sporting goods and hammock distributors and slackline distributors too, here in Fayetteville. And they have the support of, can't remember his name, I should have written it down, but the author of The Ultimate Hang is thinking about coming to Fayetteville and seeing this built, and doing maybe some book signing or something there as well if he's able. We don't know yet because it's entirely when. But they have support, but they want the city of Fayetteville to say yes and to allow them to build this to better our parks and save our people.
Y'all have an idea of where you might like to put this?
Wilson Park.
And have you thought about shade trees so it could be in the shade?
A little.
Most everyone right now is hammocking in a shady grove on the north side of the park, and also along the creek. And there's the proposed site there.
What do you think we should charge per night?
Is that doable?
They can only stay till 11.
Yeah. So when the park closes, the hammock closes, right?
Y'all have to take down the hammock.
Byron, I'm assuming we'll help them dig holes? Byron, we'll help them dig the holes?
Yes.
We got a big post hole digger, I guess?
5 feet deep would be it.
Parks will
Yeah, you will, Philip. 5 feet deep.
5 feet deep, yeah. I just want to clarify that part. Because there are no rocks in Wilkinson Park.
Okay,
Make a motion to accept the recommendation of the Hammock Park, Hammock Hotel proposal.
Second that.
all right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay. All right, well, thank you very much for coming. We're looking forward to it.
Good
I did a good job.
Good job.
Shall contact you later? Shall we pick it up?
Okay, next we have Mark Swafford. Did I say that correctly?
Yes, actually Alicia Ferguson, Dr. Alicia Ferguson.
Okay.
Who will be present.
To speak on behalf of Age Friendly Fayetteville?
Yes. My name's Alicia Ferguson, and I am a clinical associate professor at the University of Arkansas. I'm one of the investigators for Age Friendly Fayetteville. It's a community initiative to make Fayetteville a more age-friendly community. I want to introduce Mark Swafford. He's one of my students and volunteers. He's been working on the project for a while. This is Tim McCarley. He's my moral support, and he's heard a lot about Age Friendly Fayetteville, I can tell you that. So I have some good news and some bad news, and I'm going to give you the bad news first. We're all aging. But I want to give you the good news as well. We're all aging, and we're aging in a place that just needs a little improvement to be a very age-friendly community. I started this process of Age Friendly Fayetteville about 4 years ago when I went to an American Geriatric Association conference out in San Francisco. And I hadn't heard much about the Age Friendly Initiative at that point, and I just showed up at one of the workshops like you do. And I heard about 30 cities who were in the process of becoming age-friendly. And I immediately thought of Fayetteville because I think we're a very unique community. I think we're perfect to become age-friendly, and frankly, I love it here, and I wanted us to be an age-friendly community. And I thought it was a really good project that I could get behind that was very forward-thinking. So I came back to Fayetteville, and I thought about emailing Mayor Jordan. I don't know that I've ever lived in a place where I knew the mayor before, except for my hometown of 800 people. So, but I did know him, and I thought, no, I'm not going to email him. I'm going to look for somebody in the Fayetteville Forward, with the Fayetteville Forward organization. So I emailed Patty with the inclusion group, And within a couple of weeks, I was a member of the inclusion group, and they were helping me to start this idea of an age-friendly age-friendly community for Fayetteville. Also, and I met with Mayor Jordan, and he was on board. But then I had to look for funds for age-friendly Fayetteville, so time moved along, and I wrote a couple grants. And then I went to the Office for Studies on Aging at the university, and I found my co-investigator, Dr. Jean Henry. And so she and I got together and we wrote a couple more grants. And then we were at a conference, and again we went to a workshop on age-friendly communities, and a lady got up and she talked, and we asked her, how did you get your age-friendly initiative going? And it was in Kentucky, in a town very much like Fayetteville, a college town. And she said, well, we asked the chancellor to help us. And so that's what we did. We got the chancellor on board, and he called a meeting with the mayor and the Chamber of Commerce and Connie and several other people. And by the time we left the room, we had commitments for person power, which is the biggest thing you need for this type of initiative, as well as some funds to complete our needs assessment. So immediately we wrote a letter for Mayor Jordan. We helped Mayor Jordan to write a letter to the World Health Organization to apply to become a member of the Age-Friendly Communities and Cities Network through the World Health Organization. And we were accepted. It's kind of a backward situation with age-friendly communities. You get accepted into the network and then you do all the work. We knew that we had 2 years from the day we became accepted to do a needs assessment about Fayetteville and look at all the good things we have and all the things that we need to improve in order to become more age-friendly. I gave you all a kind of a quick synopsis of what age-friendly is in the memo that we provided last week, but it's really a place where people can age well, age the way they want to, but also it's about active aging, and that's why this particular advisory board is so important to us. There are 8 different domains in an age-friendly city, and the first one is outdoor spaces and buildings. And so that's why you all are so important to us. We want to let you know what we're doing now, and hopefully in the future come back and talk more specifically about ways that you all can help us after we get our needs assessment done and we have to write our report, which we're calling a blueprint for change. So far, we've done a needs assessment that included focus groups and a windshield survey. My class last spring broke up into groups, and they looked at all the different built structure components of an age-friendly city, one of which is outdoor spaces in public buildings. And they came back and gave us a report on what they found. And overall, this windshield survey was very promising for the outdoor spaces component of an age-friendly city. They looked at things like green spaces. Well, we do have a lot of green spaces here. Places to rest, age-friendly pavements, safe pedestrian crossings, accessibility. You all were talking about increasing the accessibility at Wilson Park just now. They did find a few places where that needs to happen, but it wasn't anything that was major or insurmountable. Adequate public restrooms. One of the things that they found out about public restrooms is the doors are heavy on all the public restrooms in our parks here in Fayetteville, and they thought that could be improved, as well as locks on the doors, things like that. Safe walkways and paths, building access, as well as prioritizing older customers. As I said, through the windshield survey, they didn't find any kind of systematic problems or anything huge, just a few tweaks in that way. Our focus groups, we asked them just to tell us what an age-friendly city was and what we have and what we need. And they had a few ideas. One idea that was interesting to me was more small green spaces around the city and that would be particularly age-friendly because older adults may not drive or they may not drive as far, those sorts of things. Also, more dedicated park space to older adults. That was another idea that came out of our focus groups. And interestingly enough, I like that idea in terms of maybe, I don't know, dog park dedicated for older adults, or a space that does have kind of, the park exercise equipment that's specifically for older adults. Also, the other thing that both the windshield survey and the focus groups talked about were programming in the parks for older adults and how that might benefit everyone. Also, I don't know if this is your purview, but sidewalks were widely talked about in our focus groups. I don't know if that's you all or transportation. It's transportation, okay, so we don't have to go into that. So those are some of the broad things that we think will change Fayetteville and increase our age friendliness. Part of what we have to do is, because there are several domains like housing and transportation and social inclusion and social participation, some of our ideas when we get ready to write this report are going to cross, they call them domains, cross domains and kind of be more global changes. For instance, one of the biggest things we're hearing about is communication. So, particularly in terms of transportation or anything else, you go out and you talk to a focus group, they'll say, well, it would be great if we had that. And we're thinking, well, we do have that. It's just that they don't know about that. And so that'll be one that's going to be more global in terms of a recommendation that we'll make to the city, is some way have some sort of a communication hub for older adults who may not use the internet or who may use the internet or may not know exactly how to access information. I get emails all the time from the Age Friendly Network here in the States. There's only, to date, about 60 communities in the whole United States are in the Age Friendly Network, so we are at the front of this. And every fall we get to go to D.C. and meet with the other towns and cities that are a part of the Age Friendly Network and hear ideas, and I get emails in between. One of the things that they talked about that we'll probably be looking at as well, because I think it's a great idea, and talking to Connie and her staff about, are park prescriptions. Have you all ever talked about park prescriptions for kids?
We have an RX for Play. It's our summer program for
Mhm.
kids, and we have Mana Clinic that has endorsed it.
Oh, great.
They handed out. We started that last year.
So they've been talking about in the Age Friendly City movement, expanding that to older adults, and maybe having a park prescription for older adults, or neighborhood walks, or Tai Chi in the parks, or even things like environmental stewardship programs. That also brings to mind the idea of community gardens, which was another thing that came up in our focus groups often. So those are things that we'll be looking at when we suggest changes or when we recommend policy or programming changes as we move forward through this process. So for now, you all can help us by becoming a champion for Age Friendly Fayetteville. To be a champion, you just have to tell other people what you've heard about it, and hope that other people are interested in it as well. Also, we are going to need your expertise when we write up our reports and recommendations. We don't want to do stuff that's not going to work, and we may not know it's not going to work. You all may have already tried it or found out why it doesn't work. And then we'll need some work groups and coalitions to help us develop and institute some of the age-friendly changes that we come up with. After you become an age-friendly city, you have 2 years to do this needs assessment, you have 2 years to do implementation, and then you have a year of evaluation. As long as you're making progress to being more age-friendly, you remain in the network. And what I would really love to happen is for us to have a sign on the Fayetteville city limits, the way we do bicycles and volunteers, that says we are an age-friendly city. Because we do need to keep our older adults here. We have like 9% when the rest of the country has about 15 right now. We are a young city. We need to keep our older adults here for lots of reasons. And we have that opportunity because we do have lots of baby boomers or people who are just, pre-retirement, pre-65. Can I answer any questions?
Do y'all have a board established, or I don't know what you would call it?
We do. We have a committee. We have an advisory committee that works alongside Age Friendly Fayetteville, and on that committee are older adults along with people who work in aging and older adults. Connie's actually on our committee. We meet twice a year, and then we follow up by email the rest of the year through. We also have an Age Friendly team, Dr. Henry and I, along with Mark, and we have 2 graduate students and some other undergrads that are working with us as well. Once you become one of my students, I don't ever let you go. So our team gets bigger and bigger every semester. So, other questions? These are our champion cards. We'll leave some here if you guys want to pass them out to others. The next phase of our needs assessment is survey, and that one's going to be the tough one to get that out to people and get people to fill that out. I heard you all talk about minorities and trying to draw them in. We've had a really hard time drawing minorities into the process. Not sure why, but we have. So we're hoping to do more of that as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next, we have a parkland dedication for the Watermark Residential Development.
All right. This is a multifamily development being proposed. Crafton Toll is the engineer, and Tom Henley is here representing them if you guys have questions. It's located east of Steele and north of Van Ash here, just south of Mud Creek Trail. They're proposing 316 multifamily units on about 17.75 acres. Their land dedication requirement would be 4.42 acres. Money in lieu is $176,960. We do have Skull Creek Trail, Mud Creek Trail, and Clear Creek Trail all in the service area. And then Lake Fayetteville is just outside of that, but it is connected by the trail. The developer is requesting money in lieu. Staff is also recommending money in lieu due to the existing trails and parks in the area. We feel like this will meet the needs of these people, and they do have some amenities proposed in there. This is just the aerial. This is the Mud Creek Trail here. Clear Creek goes up this way. This is the site plan. They do have some amenities proposed in their development, and Tom may be able to speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, the site plan has changed a little bit from what we submitted due to some wetlands areas that we're trying to work around. But all the amenities that are shown on here are still part of the project with the pool and clubhouse area, as well as up in the northwest corner adjacent to Steele Boulevard, there'll be a large dog park. That's the only addition to what you're seeing there.
So you're saying there's a dog park right there on the top,
In the upper left-hand corner,
and that's going to be accessible from the trail?
It'll be accessible from the sidewalk along Steele, which is connected to the trail. You got the bridge on the other side there that,
Right.
But there is pedestrian and bike access to it.
Is the trail on the south side of the creek right here?
North side.
North
It's on the north side?
Mhm.
And then it goes underneath it still and then crosses on the
Mhm.
bridge?
Mhm.
Right.
Does
Probably
corkscrew?
comes underneath and then goes back on the west side.
Yeah, okay.
Will this development have a have a fence or all the way around it?
It will not.
Okay.
Is this a spot that's already been, it's pretty level. It's already been leveled?
Well, that's kind of the
Relative.
source, that's the source of having to redesign it. Just a little bit of history, the wetlands on this piece of property were supposed to have been mitigated for when CMN was constructed.
Right.
They ran out of fill material, so they never filled it. The permit expired, and so as far as the Corps is concerned, those wetlands were never mitigated for, and so we're having to work around them.
Okay.
It is a relatively flat site, but we'll be building it up.
Just, I know we don't have probably an exact number, but how far would it be if you went up Clear Creek and went to, say, Lake Fayetteville from there? Probably a mile or two.
Probably 2 miles, about that.
Ever been
By
to,
the trail, you know, the trail route would probably be about 2 miles.
Well, the radius.
What's the radius? That's a 1 mile?
It's a mile
1 mile.
radius, so it's a little over a mile probably.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, by the trail it's probably 2, yep.
If you're flying.
I make a motion to accept money in lieu.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, all right, thank you for
guys.
coming.
Appreciate it.
you.
Okay, do we need to discuss the Razorback, the parkland
You might
dedication at
just-
all?
You might just read it.
Okay, just so everybody knows, the Razorback Apartments, development was planning to come back today for a proposal on that parkland dedication, and they did not, have a new proposal. And so we expect them to probably be here August 3rd or during the September meeting. So those of you that are interested in that, can look forward to that at that time. So next we have, Lake Fayetteville Trail proposal, and Chuck is not here, but I see some other OORC members here to discuss that. Come on up, Phil.
This is sort of an update to some information we gave you at, I don't know if it was the June or the May meeting. We mentioned some improvements that were coming to the existing soft surface trails. That's been expanded a little bit, and that's what Phil is here to talk about.
So basically what we're looking at, expansion-wise at Lake Fayetteville was on the top picture you see, there's a shaded area, that would encompass a pump track and a skills course. And the skills course would be for beginner and intermediate. The beginner would be for striders and things like that. If you see the red areas are gonna be one's your intermediate, one's your beginner area. We put that around the trees and around the places where people can sit and watch their kids ride, and observe them as they're getting out and playing on the trail. And
That red's the skills?
The red is your skills
Okay.
course. And so if you look in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see a black, looks like a diamond shape. That's going to be your pump track. And that's a little bit different type of build. It's going to be basically made out of, there's two different ways you can do it. You can do, there's a stationary pump track that's made from a fiberglass composite that's set, and then you can do it out of concrete. The one that we propose is a fiberglass composite. It's cheaper to do, and it's easier to configure. It's a lot faster to put up. So your skills course is going to be more like the bottom picture. It's going to, and they're going to vary. The height of your beginner skills course won't be as tall as your intermediate. Your intermediate will be 2 foot off the ground, where your beginner skills course will be 6 inches to a foot off the ground. That way, the size of the tires, and the kids typically, on the smaller they are, the smaller the tire is, and if you want to keep them low to the ground so you can transition off of it if you have an issue. That's what the skills course is, and that's what the pump track is on the top of it. And these are just more pictures of pump tracks.
Is that a fiberglass one there?
That is a fiberglass.
Is that a permanent installation?
Is it what now?
A permanent installation, or would you move it?
You can, either way. They can be moved, but you typically, we'd probably put it in as a permanent deal. We wouldn't want any vandalism, somebody coming over and taking the pump track to their house or something,
Just for a party.
Sorry.
Just one of the ramp portions by the swimming pool, is it?
Small ramp part.
For the pool, yeah.
But yes, they can be, it will be a permanent installation when it's all said and done.
So you are envisioning it on the grass? As
Yes,
a grass?
on grass.
Looks fun to me.
The other improvements we're gonna make is on that northern section of the trail. You can see the existing trails, kind of a white line, and we've gone through with the brown and kind of laid out the trail in kind of a better, it's not so much fall line trail. It should be able to be sustained better. And then we've gone into to the right, you see another brown trail crossing up to the paved trail system. That was a suggestion to do some stuff there to keep out of the Frisbee golf area and kind of close that trail. goes through that one, I think there's a hole there or something that they throw the Frisbee right across that trail system, and that would keep.
So you want to eliminate that one on the right?
Right. And then if you look in the left-hand side, you'll see a yellow, spot right there in the bend of the trail. That's a wall ride that was suggested. We just put that in there. That's, basically, if you can imagine a 6-foot wall that's sloped in, or that's outsloped about a 45-degree angle, you would come around that curve and ride up on it and come back, transition back down. It's kind of a berm made out of wood with two ramps, or two ramps up to it made from dirt.
We're still researching to see if there's enough room in there for that, because it's right on the line.
We wanted to have that in there, though, just, you know. But that's kind of what we're doing here in the north section of the trail system. You can see we meandered the top part of the trail to get away from that fall line stuff. If you've ever been up there, it's real cupped, and if you run in it, you can twist your ankle. So most people step up on the grass, or if you bike on it, you can hit your pedal. So it's just to kind of stop that erosion and come back and fix it in a more sustainable fashion. We're also, in our proposal, we'd plant trees in that area too, and help close that section off.
While we're talking about this section, I just wanted to, I mentioned this to you guys before. Right where the E is in Google, there's a little cut through there that goes through the, to South Turner Street, and there's a lip about like that. And before we completed the trail, I would cut through there going into Springdale. And it probably wouldn't take much, and there's also a culvert there. It's a narrow spot, and posts have been put there to keep cars from going through there. But I don't know if there's any way to, at some point, maybe that's something Byron could look at, but it could be widened just a bit and filled in just a bit to make a smooth transition, because it's not a good safe spot if you're trying to cut through, if you're trying to ride your bike through there, is what I'm referring to. You have to actually get off your bike in that one spot. It's a little, if you have a road bike with narrow tires.
To add to the skills course there, the intermediate course is going to have about 8 to 9 different features, like you saw in the skills thing earlier. In that lower picture, to have 8 to 9 different features like that. And then the smaller one will have 5 different features like that that are just lower profile. That kind of gives you an idea of what's going to be in that skills course.
Okay. So are we discussing the other sections too?
Yes,
Or just
sure.
the top?
Which other section?
So that first picture there. So if you look at the picture on the bottom left, there's a peninsula that comes out. We have proposed improving that trail system that's there. There's already one there that used to be a fishing trail, but coming into it and making it a little bit more sustainable, adding some bridges to it, and we would go in there and have to, do some bench cutting and stuff like that. I think the numbers are bridges and signage that you see on there. And then that's pretty cut and dry. It would just be go in and build some single track trail, add 3 bridges to it. And it would be more of an intermediate type section, and we probably want to put signs there that says this section's a little bit more intermediate type, then it's going to be a little harder climbs and maybe a little bit smaller trail system. It won't be a 4-foot wide trail. It'd probably be a 2-foot wide trail, just to change up the diversity of the lake, to have something a little bit different that you could experience. And then in the right-hand bottom corner, you'll see the section that comes up from the Environmental Study Center, where the berms are. Since we started this whole project in probably 2009, the old trail used to go straight up through there, and then we came in and we wanted to make it more sustainable, so we put those meanders in there and put berms in and tried to close the trail over and over again. Everybody fought this forever, and so what we propose now is to go in and put permanent fencing, in 3 different sections, through there, basically at the bottom of the trail, in the middle of the trail, and towards the top of the trail. And hopefully that would start, people thinking that, hey, I'm not supposed to go there, and I'm not supposed to, it would just, who knows what would happen, though. I know people are determined about, they want to go where they want to go, so. But that's the proposal there, is to come in and put a permanent fence up at the top and middle and the bottom of the berms to help re-establish the natural system that was there.
Would it be, what would the styling of that fence be, kind of like a split rail cedar fence or something like that? We've
Talked about split rail cedar fence, we've talked about using the cedar that was out there, and I've looked into that, and it's pretty difficult to split that cedar up because it's been sitting out there for so long. We propose now to do just a treated timber and just kind of make it look kind of rough cut stuff, you know.
Mhm.
You know, if we could figure out a way, to split that, I'd have to have a log splitter, and I'd get an 8-foot long log splitter. It's not, I've looked for one, and I didn't find it. And the guy I was talking to said, you need to split that stuff right when you cut it, or it turns hard as a rock, and you'll be there for days trying to split one, and then it won't split the way you want it, and then. If you had a sawmill and you could cut it with a sawmill, that might be a better way, but I don't know. I think a split rail fence would be great, but we kind of kicked that around, but I think we would spend more money trying to do that than we would on that other item, so that's kind of why we went with that.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm sure it's gonna be substantial, it's not gonna be
Oh, no, it'd be.
4 or 5 foot tall and.
Yeah, it'd be 4 foot tall and have 3 rails going across it, and it will be a very large hurdle if you want to try to go over it, but.
Yeah.
It will be, people will.
People go around.
Yeah, people will go around. They'll stay on the trail, hopefully. That's pretty much, the gist of what we propose to do out there, and, any questions?
So Connie, do we have funding for this?
No.
No?
They're currently, Chuck has been seeking funding for this. I think he's still working on the details of that. Yeah, but he wanted to go
We
ahead.
need to go ahead with the idea.
Right.
Okay.
So do we need a motion to adopt this proposal?
We felt like it would be good because it was introducing a new use to the park, really.
Yeah.
Before it was just more of a maintenance item, but now it's
Right.
adding something.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's exactly what we need,
No, it'd be-
and,
It'd be great.
And in
thank you to the OORC for putting this plan together.
Once we get a cost, I don't know if we have a cost yet, we do have a cost.
There is a cost on it, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's,
Yeah. So there might be that possibility of, us getting some parkland dedication, some more development occurs in the northeast.
wasn't that pretty close to the dollar amount we just got for those apartments?
No, it was a lot more. It's wrong place.
But it has to be in the northeast, yeah.
Oh, so direct lower.
And it, it's just a matter of when that money comes in,
Yeah.
so.
I make a motion to accept the Lake Fayetteville Trail proposal as proposed.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, cool. Well, thank you, Phil.
Yes.
You're welcome, thank you.
All right. Are we on to announcements now?
Yeah.
I don't know what these dates are.
It's July,
June 29th.
June 29th through August.
June
8th.
29th,
Oh.
July 29th, or June?
June 29th through July 3rd, yeah.
Through July 3rd is tennis camp, okay. June 30th through July 10th, swim lessons. Soccer uniforms and equipment ordered, that's July 1st. July 6th is fall adult softball registration. 6th through the 10th is outdoor adventure camp, number 3. The 9th is Gully Park concert with Barrett Baber. Drama camp is the 13th through the 17th. The 14th through the 24th is swim lessons number 3. 17th is the dive-in movie, Alexander and the Bad Day. The 19th is fall soccer late registration end date. 20th through the 24th is Camp Wilson. 23rd is Gully Park Concert number 5 featuring Groovement. 27th is fall kickball registration. 27th through the 31st is Outdoor Advanced Camp. What is that? Outdoor Advanced Camp?
Same
I don't
camp,
know.
but we offer it for an older age group, so
Okay.
instead of 8 to
Kids that have
12,
already been through the other one probably?
Up to 15 years old, so they can do a little bit more intense type stuff.
Okay. And then 28th through the 7th is swim lessons, session number 4. Any other announcements that I missed?
That makes summer almost gone at that point.
Could be.
Flying by.
Here and gone.
All right. If there's no other business, we
Move
will
to
adjourn.
adjourn.